Looks like we're live. Are we live on your end?
Awesome. Seeing live stream. Yep, it looks like we're live.
Perfect. Sweet.
Awesome.
How are you doing today? How's your day going?
Doing well, doing well. Can't complain. Had some really awesome calls with a few clients. Yeah, otherwise cannot complain. How about yourself? How's your day going?
It's going good. It's going good. I've been on the same thing. I've had back to backs for the last few hours. Got some cool stuff going with several of our very niche coaches, actually. Funny enough, today.
Cool.
So today I had a one-on-one setting up for one of our Coach Sando, one of our equestrian coaches. Um, and so that was fun, kind of helping him set up with some in-person events he's got. And then I
Awesome.
had Miss Amanda, which she might actually be watching right now. She usually hops on these. We're setting
Yep.
up some different things for her and her business and offerings, and she's a pelvic floor specialist. Um,
Okay.
and then we had Mr. Luis, Mr. Shreddy Fit, who's got a million
Mm-hmm.
followers. He just launched, and we set up some IG automations, literally like seconds before hopping on here. So
That's so
been
cool.
a day of very unique clients and some different things like that going on. So it's been cool.
Love it. That is
Yeah.
very cool. Love good
But
Fridays like that.
yeah, exactly. One of the big things that Amanda and I were talking about today, and we were working on, was setting up and getting going on the Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff, and just making sure that she's all
Perfect.
set up and ready to go as a coach. And I think that's a big part of what we're going to be talking about today. But I also think that's a very important part of what we're trying to kind of build up to and create and craft for all of our coaches heading into Black
Mhm.
Friday, Cyber Monday is, hey, this is an opportunity. We need everybody to take advantage of this opportunity at the highest possible level. So I guess based on everything that we talked about yesterday, Felicity, where do you want to start, or where do you think the most valuable spot to start would be based on our conversation with clients yesterday?
It's a really great question. Um, think a big piece of it is I know of a lot of coaches that even I've spoken to. It's like the going into the mindset of the Black Friday. We can touch on that, and then going into the actual like what verbiage are we going to be speaking? How are we going to be speaking it? And then going into the other topics that we spoke about. But I feel like the mindset of Black Friday and how we ramp up to that point in time is going to be the biggest piece because we got to start that right now. So you guys are ready for that period, which is coming up fast.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the Whisper T. I know you're familiar with this model,
Yep.
Whisper T
Whisper teach
Shout.
out.
Let's talk about that first. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about kind of Whisper T Shout and why we agree with
Yeah.
Hormozy that it's the most effective way to kind of move into a launch.
Yeah. So essentially what Whisper Tease Shout is we're doing those exact same processes. So we're whispering or we are kind of hinting at something to kind of if you think about a story or a movie, you're kind of creating that same thing in your content and in your stories for the people that are watching you on the day to day. It's just in real life and in real time. So if we whisper something, we are essentially just kind of hinting that something's going to happen. And so
Yep.
people start to be like, oh, what is this? And they start to get curious. So we're starting
Yeah.
to generate that
And it's not
curiosity.
not a lot of details. It's a lot of kind of cliffhanger
No,
type stuff. It's just kind of again like whispering or like hinting at this thing can is coming. Something's coming, right? Not a lot of
yeah,
details. Just something's coming.
exactly. It's like, oh, stay tuned because around on this date, I'm going to be launching something. And we're not saying specifically about what it is. So whispering is just strictly just hinting that something is coming soon.
Yep.
And people start to get on edge and they're like, ooh, what is this about? And then it generates curiosity and then they're going to watch your stuff more. And then we go into the whisper phase where we start to tell them a little bit
Tease
more
phase.
details. Or tease phase, my apologies. Whisper, tease, shout.
Yep.
The tease phase where we're starting to tease them and saying like, oh, so this is going to happen, and we're giving them more details. So then it generates even more curiosity. And the very last thing is going to be the shout phase where you're actually telling them about everything and promoting the thing like crazy, whether that is a challenge or a scholarship.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the most effective way to kind of, and Hormozy's books go a lot further kind of into depth about how
Mhm.
to execute those on a deeper, kind of more granular level. But we found it with ourselves internally and with the hundreds of coaches that we've worked with, that's the most effective way to help somebody
Mhm.
launch, right? So we talked about Whisper Tea
Absolutely.
Shout. We talked about kind of the different offers and frameworks that we recommend people would be using. And so let's talk about those. Let's talk about those options. So I guess you already kind of hinted at challenges. We hinted at scholarships. Both those things can be super effective. Most people, I will say, tend to not do a challenge heading into Black Friday because a lot of people, everybody and their mother does a challenge in the new year typically as
Mhm.
coaches because there's the new year, new me kind of trends and just allowing people to do something, hit the ground running, have a quick win in the new year. Challenges are very effective and people are going to join challenges at a ever expanding rate every single new year. People feel like it's a clean
Mhm.
slate and they feel like it's a good time to start something new.
Mhm.
So a lot of times what we kind of suggest is like we talked about last week, doing some sort of a coaching sale, but not positioning it as a sale or a discount. And you can creatively package that through doing something similar to a scholarship, which comes across as more of like a value give instead of a actual discount or actual sale. And you could
Yeah.
also package it in the form of like a case study or a reward event for people that commit for longer periods of time. So another trend that I've kind of seen in the industry is if somebody commits for a longer period of time, if they commit for 3 months, they get, an extra, let's just say 1 month or 50% of 1 month covered. If they commit for 6 months, they get a month or 2 months free. If they commit for 12 months, they get, 3 months free or something. And so you basically reward someone, and by the more months that they end up purchasing or committing to, even, they get more of a reward for doing so. So it's
Yep.
not necessarily, hey, come sign up for coaching for 40% off. It is rewarding somebody and adding on, tacking on extra
Mhm.
value for them paying a certain price, giving them extra value on top of that.
Yeah. And this is
Um,
also important. I have one thing to add there
yeah, go
is
ahead.
that this model too, whether you're running a scholarship challenge, but the value add is so influential because of the reason that you can actually give this to your current clients as well. Something like a discount, because I know a lot of coaches come into this and they're like, oh, I'm going to discount my coaching. And we don't want to do that because then your current clients are going to be like, well, I've been with you for X amount of time. Like, where's my discount? I've already been with you and I've been paying this full price. But with an extra value, what you can do is you can hop on calls with your current clients. And let's say they're on an MRR and you want to bring them up to a paid in full. Or if you want to be like, hey, if you want to hop in on this deal, I'll give you an extra month for free if you pay 3 months up front. So it's something that you can take and not just have for your um, like prospects and leads, but you can also have for your current clients as well. So it's translatable across everything.
Yeah.
And that's why we suggest and push this value add because it's not going to be like a questioning from your clients and then to be upset. It's going to be more so like, cool, you guys can hop in on this and this is what you guys can get as well. Um,
Yes.
so I just wanted to add that in there as because I know a lot of coaches come into this with the mindset of like discount, discount, and it's like, no, let's just add that value instead.
Yeah, if you
It's
if you run a
important to
40% off coaching sale, then people are just going to get upset that are already paying you full price, and they'll either cancel and try to re-sign at that lower price, or they will. Thank you for the super kind words.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
I've seen you guys' messages back and forth in the onboarding
Yeah.
chat. It's so funny. Um,
Yes.
but yes, welcome to the team as well. That was my welcome. I didn't fully type it out because I was trying to pay attention as well. But we basically, like, if you do end up running some sort of a coaching sale or discount, all it does is tell everyone that the best way to describe it, that we kind of talked about it yesterday on the actual group call, is with a product based service. Okay, so like if I'm, with iPhones, right? If you were to run, Apple never runs sales, but if you were to run a sale on this, it would be understood that there's got to be a certain amount of payment that needs to be made to cover the cost of this thing, right? So and you might make a little bit of money on top of that if you run a sale. With a
Yeah.
service, that's an intangible good, right? There's no actual defined like objective, this is how much it cost me to fulfill 1 month of coaching with you.
No.
So the second that you start to discount something that is a service by saying 40% off, 30% off, 20% off, whatever, then the question always creeps into the customer's mind, well, if he can discount at 30%, why could he not do 35? Why can't he do
Mm-hmm.
40? And then it ends
What's that
up,
bottom
where's
line?
the ending? Yeah, there's no ending because again, it's totally subjective with a service. You decided that you were going to charge X amount, and the reality is you could charge $1 a month. We
Mm-hmm.
could, right? But we want to value ourselves and be a premium service and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you do discount a service, it does beg that question. And like Felicity's saying, if you do discount a service for new people, your old people are going to look at you and get a little bit mad. They might cancel. They might want the lower price. And then so a lot of times you end up dropping these things down. You know,
Mm-hmm.
instead of running a sale and acquiring a bunch of new business, you ran a sale and you acquired some new business, but you also just dropped all your current business down to a lower price as well.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's why we suggest doing things like a scholarship. And if you were to do something like a scholarship, a big kind of like bonus there is your current clients probably will, at least a few of them, apply for the scholarship. So what
Yep.
you do for them is if you do want to give them some sort of an offer, tack on, or if you're doing some sort of a coaching offer, tack on whatever they wanted to purchase onto the end of their current plan or current contract. So you can add that to the end of their current contract and you can make that a more valuable thing for both you by guaranteeing yourself more income for longer and for them by allowing them to take advantage of a sale so they don't feel left out or kind of like overlooked as a person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I do want to bring up, because I know that we're talking a lot more about scholarships than challenges. There was a few in our Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh yeah, Tuesday chat. Or no, it was actually Monday. My apologies. I got my days all mixed up. That some people had when it came into the challenge when it comes to the holidays, because you can present the challenge if you guys are thinking about running a challenge in a way to just get people through the holiday season, which I thought was super interesting because we have a mindset coach and he was talking about the mindset surrounding the holidays, and he was like, let's get through the seasonal depression. And I was like, that's awesome. That was Tyler. And then we had MJ who brought up the idea of getting people just through the holiday season with their fitness and nutrition. And because this is such a hard time for people are going to need that extra accountability. So running something like a challenge is also very valuable. I know we're pushing the scholarship a lot, but I just want to present it to you guys that it's like the people that are watching that challenges are also very valuable around the
Yeah.
season. We're just putting it in a frame of mind where it's like usually challenges are run at the beginning of the year because that's where people are like new me, like new year, new me. But it is valuable in both aspects as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to depend on your niche, going to depend on what you got going on. And if you don't plan to run a challenge at the beginning of the year,
Mm-hmm.
to Felicity's point, then maybe you run one at the end of the year and you kind of separate yourself a little bit. And then you start with at the end of that challenge, you're selling people into one-on-one so they can start one-on-one coaching at the beginning of the year. And
Yep.
that works great as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Mike, just kind of fill you in. We've been talking about, Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep as a coach. We've been talking about, different things that people can run as far as scholarships or challenges or some sort of kind of like value add as far as uh, adding on extra months based on how long someone's able to commit for.
Yep.
But what we haven't talked about is what you talked about quite a bit yesterday, which is adding a value associated with your time to an offer. If you want to kind of talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the one thing that a lot of people have is time. The one thing that doesn't cost you money, theoretically, time. And so for us to discount our services is one thing, for us to provide free value is another. And so my perspective is like, hey, if I really want somebody to get started, what do they actually want? They want the coach, not the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want me and if they need me and that makes them feel more secure to speak to me as the coach, why would I not give them me so they can get started and feel great about it? And so one of our guys that we're working with on one of our coaching calls yesterday, that you got to be a part of AR to get on, we broke down his offer and I was like, hey, what's the number one objection you've had over the last, let's say 90 days? And he's like, price. I was like, great, what is it? And he's like, well, it's $1,700 to get started or a higher monthly fee. I said, okay, so what if you changed it to where we did a $750 for the rest of the year, and then it would go to a monthly subscription. But instead of you not doing any calls with them that are mandatory, but just on an as needed basis, you had it to where you gave them 3 calls a month for the next 8 weeks. And so not only are they going to get something that they can't buy from you at all anyway, because that's not a part of your services, but what we're also going to do is now we can frame this being that it's a seasonal approach, right? Through this holiday season where you've said that you've struggled with in the past, I'm going to help you every single week basically get through those next 8 weeks or 6 weeks with me by having a call weekly. What this also does is allows you to build an amazing relationship through a season of thanks and love and giving. And you're actually over giving what it is you normally would for somebody in a time of the highest amount of need and the highest amount of stress, also in the highest amount of love, compassion, and giving. So you're actually building an amazing relationship while providing over-the-top value, seeking great results through the most stressful time of all of Americans' lives, if you would. And then we roll into the new year with no more calls. They're set up on the right foot, and now they actually become the easiest client that you have. And so by valuing your time here, and I hate to say devaluing it, but you're basically just giving your time away for these people. It's like, man, 30 minutes goes a really long ways with somebody. And the question becomes is, would you rather have one person say, yeah, I can afford the $1,700, or would you try to have it to where we can get people in at, let's say, $350 a month or $750 for the next 2 months or something of that nature, and you take 10 of those or one of the 1,700. Obviously, it makes more sense for me to collect more money on a recurring basis.
Yep.
And so even though I have to spend more time with those individuals, I might have to go away 60 calls, but the truth is that's 30 hours. Would you give up 30 hours right now for the next 2 months, 15 hours a month? Would you give up for 10 clients paying you $350 a month? If so, take it and roll with it. If not, then figure out a plan that works for you where you raise the price so that you go, yeah, it's worth my time. Because if you ask me, even at like my level of business, I'd take 10 clients paying $350 a month if I decided to give, 30 or 15 hours a month, so 3.5 hours a week, 4 hours a week, sold. To me, it's a no-brainer because I can do that in one day to manage $3,500 worth of revenue that's going to continue on for the next 12 months. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But people don't view it that way. They view it like, well, I don't want to do calls. Well, we have a lot of coaches that say they don't want to do calls. And then we say, hey, I got clients dropping off. Like, do you do calls with them? Or when's the last time you had a call with them? I don't. Oh, so they're like dying to have a connection and you're just the full denial of that. It's like you should actually be going above and beyond and asking if they want to get on a call.
Yeah.
Like, why would you expect somebody to just continue to, like, and you provide no love and it's a one-way relationship. You're collecting my money. All I'm getting is some text messages.
Yep.
Or some emails. It's like, go out of your way and make those connections instead of waiting on people to come to you. See, here's the thing. Whenever you don't focus on the call aspect, what you're actually doing is making this one-way relationship to somebody that's struggling. And when they're struggling, guess what they don't do? Reach out and tell you how many cheeseburgers they had this week, or tell you that they've had pizza, or that they got 2 pints of ice cream, or that they completely failed at the Friendsgiving and they're ashamed, and you want them to raise their hand and be like, hey, I just want to let you know I suck and I need help. That's not why they signed up with you. That's not how they came into your funnel and flow in the first place. So why do you think that that's different? It's the same person on the inside that we're trying to change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a matter of
Yeah.
playing the long game. You have to think about
Always
it in
for the long game. I was on a
Yeah.
call this morning, not to derail, but I was on a call this morning right before this with a lady that, well, she just wasn't ready. And she was like, can we just make it to where like we can do a percentage split and you can just take the money? And I was like, to be honest with you, no, I don't want to do that and take advantage of you by any means. I would rather me give you as much free information as I can, show you how to go make money, and then you come back to me when you're ready, because I don't want to take a percentage of your money when you need that money right now more than I do. Knock on wood. I always say, knock on wood, like I don't need your money. I will take it, but I'll take it only if it's in a good place from you instead of a desperate place. Because what happens is that when you come from a desperate place, you show up in ways that are stressed. And when you show up at a stress level, you start asking clients or asking people to become a client instead of helping people. So we want to help people first, which is why you adding these calls helps them more than you know. It's not wasting your time, as some people put it. It's actually providing an amazing value and relationship building for long term. And so she was sitting beside another trainer in the car, and the trainer goes, hey man, I just want to let you know that when she's ready, I'm going to make sure she only signs up with you, because I've heard her get on a lot of calls, a lot of people, and they all suck. And that's the most genuine thing I've ever heard. And it made me feel good, because the truth is, it's like, hey, like I am here just to help. Like we provide these live calls right here, actually just to help the individuals, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that we're saying that you can't Google. We might frame it in a way that's better comprehension. However, you can Google everything as you need to know that we can coach. And so for us, it's like, we want you to succeed. We just build out the funnel on the back end, make it automated, and help you scale. So it's like, I want everybody to succeed. And these are value-driven calls that we have, just like the calls we have inside AR every single week.
Yep.
Like, we don't charge for those. Those are free whenever you join our software. Right? We want to help you as much as possible, and you should do the same for your clients. And there's nothing that I'm going to tell you to do that I'm not already doing or doing inside our company. Just because it's like, well, if I'm going to tell you to do it, why don't I also follow the same decree? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like what Kaylee brings up with her scholarships. And every time that she runs a scholarship, people show up differently to those calls, because they're, in a sense, they're coming from a sense of gratitude rather than a sense of like wall up. And just showing that value and showing up in a sense of like, I'm here to help you and I'm going to do what I can to help you.
Totally.
And it's the same exact mental process that someone's going through while on a sales call, whether it's scholarship or like a normal sales call. As long as you show up as the person to help, it's going to drastically change their perception of you and how you run your company, and that's going to just help you in a better light as well.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it does, that framing is huge. And we need to make sure that whenever you do come up with this offer, it needs to be clear to the person that it isn't a discount or a sale offer. It needs to be clear that whenever you're tacking on this extra value, there's still a cost associated to that, but you're covering the cost, right? You as the trainer, you as the business owner, you're covering the cost. So if it's your time, you're giving them extra time, which you could be dedicating to other things, other people. You're giving it to them, and you're kind of covering that extra added, hourly rate for doing so for them. If it is extra courses or resources or things like that you're throwing in, those things cost monetary value. You're throwing them in and you're covering the cost for it. So it needs to be clear to them that there is still this kind of sacrifice that's being made, but it's not you just sacrificing a little cash right now. It's you sacrificing something to give them more value.
Mm-hmm. It's the frame of mind.
So
I mean, it's a really important piece you said there, right? Because let's say you have two packages, one that has calls, one that doesn't. It's like, well, I'm going to basically sell you the same thing that you would get inside the bigger package for the next 8 weeks, but it's going to cost you what my normal package is. So I give more value, give more time, give more commitment for a cheaper price, which that way I'm not discounting my service. It's the same service. I'm just adding this value in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's framing it is really, really, really important.
It's a BOGO.
Exactly. Basically. All right.
Absolutely. Well, I do want to make sure that, I'll kind of let you guys kind of close with me as well, but I do want to make sure that this is said as we round out this particular live, because we're sitting at November 8th. We have exactly 3 weeks before Black Friday today.
Mhm.
I want to leave you guys with this, okay? Heading into the new year, this is the biggest time of year for all of us as coaches and as trainers and just in the fitness industry in general. So you're going to have probably more interactions, you're going to have probably more inquiries relative to the rest of the year. In order to make sure that you don't have something that falls through the cracks, right? In order to make sure that you have the correct nurture sequences and flows and things like that set up, something like what we do here at AR Funnel is extremely valuable during these times, especially so that we can market to these people for the rest of the year. We can collect their info and market to them and have an actual owned channel of communication for the rest of the year. So if you're a coach that is not on AR yet and you need some way to be able to manage these leads, communicate with them, nurture them without you having to physically and mentally go and remember to press the buttons on every single one of these people, we would love to be able to help you guys out with that. Whether it's before Black Friday, after Black Friday, but definitely by the beginning of the year, we want to be able to have you guys have a system in place that's going to take a lot of this stress, a lot of this anxiety, and really a lot of this work off of your plate so that we can help you to run your business at a higher level.
100%.
Anything you guys want to add?
No, I
No,
think that
just
pretty
start
much
thinking.
nailed it.
All right.
Yeah, just start thinking about it now. Just like plan ahead. The better ahead you are. It's just like with content
Yeah.
too. Like if you're trying to create and make the post on the same day, like you can only do that for so long until
Yep.
something comes up, and then you won't be able
Yep.
to do it. And it's the same thing in your business. So just keep that in mind. Like prepare ahead of the time and make sure that you have space so you can allow for things to happen in your business. Because if we just do things last second, it just doesn't work as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys press that notification bell down below if you haven't subscribed yet. We just had 100 subscribers, which I feel like it jumped like 20 in the
Hey.
last week.
That's awesome.
So that's a big little milestone for us as we build up the company page here. But we're always
Yay.
putting stuff out like this on YouTube. We'd love to have you a part of the community and joining these lives and notify whenever we do those. So subscribe, find us down below if you need anything else, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys then.
Okay.